Hello, I'm your superhero critic, and I'll stay super as long as you stay awesome, and welcome back to Trans Week, as we take a look at Alters. Released and published by Aftershock Comics in 2016, Alters is a 10-issue series written by Paul Jenkins, who's written for both Marvel and DC, and is drawn by Leela Lies. The series then focuses on a trans teenager not only hiding the fact that she is a transgender, but also the fact that she is an alter. And in this universe, a massive worldwide incident occurred, creating those that are considered alters. Essentially, they are humans, giving them powers and abilities. This specific series focuses on one trans girl's struggle to hide two identities. So let's dive into Alters number 1 and see how well we are represented in this franchise. The cover does not really show much to be desired. It's literally just the heroine in the military stance, and it does not really showcase anything special, and it's kind of bland and very boring. But we really begin in Ohio, as our main character is in a diner writing in her diary, explaining that she's an alter, and explaining what alters are and how they came to be, starting with a doctor named Octavian experimenting with genetics, which led to an explosion known as the Chicago Incident, creating a spike in alters and this universe's big baddie. Finally, Matter Man showed up. He was special too, and now everything else, even Chicago, is a blip on the radar. Matter Man. That's what you're gonna go with. What's the matter with you, man? Chalice talks about how unspecial it is to be an alter now, as the flashback goes into Octavian researching a hadron surge, finding Chalice and hoping he can meet her, but she gives chase towards an alleyway. Octavian just wants to do an interview, but denies anything when she brings up that she knows she cannot keep her family protected.
Alrighty then.
Octavian tries to get her to say yes, but Chalice dips out. We then head to her real home life, as she discusses life having different intersections, as she reveals that she wears a wig, as her mom comes up the stairs looking for her. This is also one of those things that hit hard with a lot of people like us, especially those like me, where before we realized we were trans, we, started losing our hair, forcing ourselves to have to wear a wig. It really does hit home, and it's part of why I actually really enjoy this series and highly recommend it. Charlie lies to her family about how she got hurt, as she helps her brother who has cerebral palsy get into the car. The narration then talks about the facts that she's trans, hiding it from her family, not knowing how her family will take all of it, while her other brother makes gay jokes. Being a trans girl in a family of Christians, I don't have to explain why this part hits home as well. We get a page of our hero in her mind, revealing that she just wants to be herself. Again, this hits really well. I love how they put these types of scenes in them. Again, this hits really well. I love how they focus and put all of these types of nods to what we really go through when we go through a transition. And for years, I just wanted to be myself. And it took a divorce to do that, but what can you do? Charlie has her head in the clouds as she talks to a coworker about work as well as women, but that talk is cut short as Matterman takes to the airwaves and he reports that he's not happy about this new alteration. He then declares and reminds people who is in charge. You communicated with an unregulated alter who should have already handed herself over to me. That is why I am now declaring jihad.
What do the people of Islam have to do with this?
Matterman then makes a public statement about those who defy him by killing one of the random prisoners and snapping his neck. Octavian is now dedicated to find the superheroine before Matterman does. But as they try to track her down, a blip comes closer and closer to them as she destroys the ceiling, ending the first issue, with Chalice standing tall.
So, yeah, I have read all of this series, and I do want to get to the rest of this eventually down the road. But for a starter chapter of this story, it's really well written. At least in my standpoint. A lot of people don't really like the art, but
while the art is something most might turn away from, it does give us a unique style, but my main issue with the series as a whole is that only the first issue actually deals with the mental state of being transgender. After that, it is more about Chalice taking down Matterman and other villains. I feel like the franchise established this character as the new big trans hero, but did not actually care about stuff like discrimination, acceptance, and other things that we deal with through our transitions.
So, like I said, this franchise really does focus on the aspect of, a trans girl having to hide her normal identity really well. For now. It starts to ignore the fact that she's trans and then just focuses on the hero aspect, which is part of what I expect. But at the same time, the franchise doesn't really focus on any of the stories that we personally go through after the first issue. However, to finish off Trans Week, we are going to take a look at Supergirl's character of Dreamer.